Almighty God. Nothing is impossible with you. The one that stretched the heavens like a curtain that rides upon the wings of the wind. We worship and adore you this morning. Lord, we commit this meeting into your hands. Take control and take charge, and let your name alone be glorified in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. If you believe, God shout loud, amen. Please, you may take your seats this morning. Welcome to live service this morning. I thought somebody would be excited about being in live service. Put your hand together and be excited and give God the glory this morning. This morning, we are talking about taking the lead. We are starting introduction into leadership, the concept of leadership. And I want to read from Isaiah chapter 9, verse 14 to 16 from the New Living Translation. Isaiah 9, 14 to 16 from New Living Translation. I'll just read it from here. He said, therefore, in a single day, the Lord will destroy both the head and the tail, the noble palm branch and the lowly reed. The leaders of Israel are the head, and the lying prophets are the tail. Say, for the leaders of the people have misled them. They have led them down the path of destruction. People have had several. They have led them down the path of destruction. It says the leaders of the people have led them they have misled them, and they have led them to the path of destruction. So the concept of leadership is very interesting, and it's been said over and over again, and people have given different definitions about leadership. But the more contemporary definition of leadership that we have now is that leadership is the ability to influence people. Leadership is the ability to influence people. Once you are in a position to influence people, then you are a leader. Once there is need for people to be influenced, then you are a leader, whether positive influence or negative influence. In fact, it's been said that influence can be divided into three. You can either influence people positively, you can influence them negatively, and we have people we call transformational leaders. Transformational leaders. For instance, the very good example of negative leadership is Adolf Hitler. He was able to lead a nation to cause a world war, and the people really followed him. It was not as if that they were coerced, they were forced. They willingly followed Adolf Hitler to go into the war. And the war, you know the story of the war, the number of people that were killed, and all those things that happened. So it was a very good example of a negative leader. He had, for whatever reason, one of the reasons that was said was because of his oratory skills. He was an orator, he was a very passionate person, and so he was able to lead a whole nation negatively. And positive leaders abound, of course. You know the story of Nelson Mandela, that was able to lead that nation from apartheid to being a democratic nation. And I remember watching one of the videos of the stories of Mandela, how, just to give example of how one decision can change the destiny of a nation because of a leader, positive or negative. And so after Mandela was released, the black guys in South Africa started attacking they wanted a reprisal to start attacking the whites. And they were attacking, and a war was about to break out. And some people came to meet Nelson Mandela that just give us the go-ahead. Just give us the permission to take vengeance on these guys, what they have done for us, or what they have done to us. But he refused to give them that permission. He refused to give them permission for vengeance. He said what he wanted was healing. What he wanted was people, whether you are black or white, to have the ability and the aspiration to be great in this nation. That was leadership. And because of that singular the decision that they took, not to take vengeance on the white guys, the whole nation was united and they became democratic. And in fact, there was a time that Mandela was president of South Africa, and he found out that when he had the opportunity to go for a second term, and he said he was not going. Because he was not going for second term, the South African rand was losing value. That was how influential. Some people have said that Mandela was in between a positive leader and a transformational leader. The other good example is Martin Luther King. One single black guy, when racism was very strong in America, this guy just stood up because he believed in some things. Incidentally, his own beliefs were mainly from scriptures. And majorly what Martin Luther King believed in was the fact that a man should not be judged by the color of his skin, but by the content of his character. He has a quote like that he had a dream, and the dream that one day black guys, white guys, colored guys in America, you are able to get to the top of your aspiration, not based on the color of your skin, but based on the content, what you have, the treasures inside of you. And incidentally, many years after that, it seems that dream is being achieved in America. So those were leaders. So Martin Luther King was another leader that was in between a positive leader and a transformational leader. I personally feel, you may argue that the readily available example of a transformational leader was Jesus Christ. Because of his leadership qualities, because of what he did, humanity, the whole of humanity was transformed eternally. So 2,000 years after, it's still having effect. 100 years after, it was having effect. 200 years, 1,000 years, 2,000. So that's transformational. And, some of us here have testimonies of the fact that because we met this man, or we know this man, we accepted him, our lives have been transformed eternally. So that's an example of leadership. Leadership means you want to take two people from this point A to a point B. That's leadership. Not by forcing them, by putting guns on their head, but by influencing them to be able to take those decisions willingly, to move from point A to point B. So you find out that in the old days, or our ideas about leadership has changed tremendously. Before, we used to think as leadership as what we call positional leaders. So for instance, a pastor is a positional leader. Many times the pastor is appointed and people have to obey the pastor, at least initially, because it's the pastor. If I don't obey pastor now, God can punish me. You understand? We pastor use that to harass people that, if you disobey the head of, if you disobey the usher, you're disobeying the HOM. If you are disobeying the HOM, you are disobeying the usher. If you are the pastor, if you are disobeying pastor, you are disobeying reverend, and you are disobeying God. So people say, so that God will not just come and knock me in the middle of the night. Yeah, this is obedient child. It may start like that, but ultimately, what it should be that you have known this pastor for some time, you have related with him, and you know he has a good heart towards people, and he has a good heart towards God. So you want to willingly. There is that, Isaiah helped us a lot, Isaiah 1:19. If you are willing and obedient, you will eat the good of the land. So initially a pastor may use that positional authority. Your boss in the office, if you're a boss, you are employing people, you may use that positional authority and enforce your will. But ultimately, you have to be able to positively influence people to do the right thing. And that positive influence comes from relationships, building relationships, making them see the strengths and the weaknesses that you have, and making them understand their own strengths and weaknesses also. So the concept of positional leadership is true, but many of us, that is all we know about leadership. So somebody will say that, I'm not a pastor, I'm not the HOM, I'm not even the boss in my office, I'm just a worker in the office, I don't have any leadership position. So why do I need to know about leadership? That is a concept that is a lie from the pit of hell. Because leadership is about influence. Every one of us, in one way or the other, we need to influence people. Every one of us. Let me give you an example. If you're a mother and you have 2 children or 3 children, you are a leader. You need leadership skills. In fact, I read it somewhere that most women that have leadership positions in the circular, they are maybe a business leader or something, are usually more successful women or mothers than people that don't have leadership. Because the concept of leadership is almost the same. The principles are the same. Is that you must be able to communicate, you must have vision, you must be able to motivate, you must be able to influence people. It's the same principle. So if you can succeed as a business owner to influence people positively, the likelihood that you'll be able to influence your children positively is very high. And sometimes, the skills that you use to influence your children positively, you can take it into the business world to use those same skills and principles. So, anytime you are in the position to influence people, as a father, as a mother, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as a career person, you will find out, if you look thoroughly, you find out that by the time you start rising in your career line, maybe as a younger career person, let me use career now. As a younger career person, you find out that the most important things you need are your technical abilities. So you can do this, you know how to use this program, you know how to use this, you know how to do that. You understand? So you'll be rising because of those technical abilities. However, when you begin to get to the top managerial level, the need for the technical abilities begin to reduce. Your technical abilities the need for the technical abilities may be like 30 or 40%. But what they need at that level are your leadership skills. How can you galvanize these old 1,000 workers or 200 workers or 50 workers or 30 workers or even 10 or 5? That's what the organization will need. Not the technical guys are usually the middle level guys. But when you get to the top level guys are people that have not just the technical skills, but the leadership skills. They're able to influence people. They have positive influence with the people. They can say, oh, let us move like this, and they will move, and they can, over the years, they have developed relationships. Somebody was saying that one of the reasons why, if you go to, for instance, America, they discovered that many businesses that are generational. And so the father was the CEO. After some time, the son becomes the CEO. And they have a model. Because some other places like Nigeria, what you see that the father is the CEO of this company, multi-billion dollar company. They will bring his son that went to do MBA abroad and bring him to be the vice president, immediately reporting to the father. And after the father exits the organization, it's going to collapse. Why? The guy has the technical abilities, but he doesn't have influence with the people. So, but the model the Americans do is the fact that once the guy is in secondary school, the father is the CEO, is in secondary school, he will go and join what do you call them? The low cadre workers, the junior workers in the factory, be working with them. When he's in the university, he will go and join the middle guys as a vacation job. When after finishing, he will still join maybe the top middle level guys. So he knows the factory workers, he has a relationship with them, he has a relationship with all the cadres of worker, he becomes the vice president, eventually takes over from his dad. At that time, he has influence with the people. So any time you need to be able to influence people, you need leadership skills and leadership qualities. Anytime. So think about it. So the devil has told us a lie. I always look at it, even in church. By the time we say, we want to make you a leader, people will just take off. Me. So the concept we had before was the fact that positional leaders are the leaders. So politicians are leaders. The senators are leaders. The president is the leader. The governor, the commissioner. But if you really understand the power of leadership, I think people will crave to be leaders. I think so. You want to be leaders, even for your own selfish interests. Because ultimately, you need to be able to influence people positively, influence your children. So if you have a supermarket, for instance, you have employed 5 people, you need to be able to influence them so that when you are not around, they won't be stealing from you. You need to be able to influence them such that when you are not around, they can sell your market well. I remember one day I went to buy something in one shop, and I got there and they gave one very expensive price. I was wondering, why is this woman something so expensive? And I looked. But a friend of mine told me he bought something, the same item in that shop for this. And I said, I thought this is a supermarket. You don't price something here. I said, we don't price. I said, but this thing that you have put, assuming it was 30,000 that they put there, this thing should actually be 20,000. And they were shocked that I knew the exact price. They were shocked. And I said, aha, because madam is not around, you guys are. I said, no. Sir, what? Apparently, because the woman was not around, they just wanted to put, and they would drive the customers away if they are not stealing. It's either they are stealing or both. They want to drive the customers away or they are stealing. So, one of the things you need to have as a business person, a small business owner, as a career person, is those leadership qualities to be able to influence people. The problem usually is that it takes time. It takes time because you have to build relationships. Sometimes you would see that I can't build relationship with this person. The person has to go look for new people and start building relationships. So the first concept that we need to put out of our minds is the fact that leadership is just all about positional leadership. That if I'm not a positional leader, I don't need leadership skills. I don't need to become a leader in any area. And the second one that we need to put out of our mind is the fact that leaders are born leaders. People are naturally gifted leaders. There is that concept that Mandela was a great leader because he was born a leader. Just those things were inherited. It was in his gene. It was inherited. That you see some people, some great leaders that you admire. This guy is just in his gene. On last week Sunday, I was telling us that the Igbos, the Igbo tribe in Nigeria, they are not good business people because they inherited it. It's because they were mentored. There is a mentorship program for them. Ditto for leadership. It is true that some of those leadership qualities are seemingly acquired. Some people that just have vision where other guys are not seeing. They can see into the future. They can project into the future. So where you are seeing problem now, they are thinking in this season of subsidy removal, there can be a profit in there. Good motivators, they can motivate people. They are positive guys. They have some of those good qualities inherently. But over the years, it has been found out that leadership skills can be acquired. It can be acquired. You can read books to improve your leadership skills. You can attend programs like this to improve your leadership skills. John Maxwell has demystified leadership for the whole world. He has an organized program that he trains leaders, and many of those guys, after going through those trainings, have testified the fact that their lives have never been the same. In fact, some people, I have read some of his books. Some people just reading his books alone, as we change your mindset about leadership, we change your concept about leadership, and we change your entire perspective about leadership, and your whole life will just be transformed. So if you have that mindset, the reason why Pastor Toyin is such she was just born like that. Some people have the concept that it's only cholerics. It's a choleric that can be great leaders. You see, they are very strong personality. Me, phlegmatic, I can't be a good leader. No. It has been found that every personality that you can imagine in this world have become great leaders one time or the other. So, and it's been found that even in spite of your weaknesses, you can still become a great leader. So just remove that thought that I was not born a leader. I was not born as a leader. I have these deficiencies. I can't be a leader. Mandela was born to be a great leader. Jesus Christ, we know it was the anointing that made him a great leader. You can give those examples. You can see Bishop Oyedepo is a strong choleric. Paul was a strong choleric. Me, I'm just phlegmatic. No. So leadership skills can be acquired. We can train ourselves. We can read books. You see, what I have found out over the years is that whatever you desire, you can have it many times in a godly way. If you really desire something, if you feel that leadership is important to you as a person, you can acquire it. You can acquire it, even though you may be deficient in one. Everybody has a strength, and many of us have weaknesses. I have related with some of leaders before, both in the secular and in the church leadership. I found out that many of the leaders have some weaknesses also. But it's just that over the years, they have developed their leadership skills. They have developed their leadership skills. So leadership skills can be developed. You can read. You can go for seminars. You can do online trainings about leadership. You can attend meetings like this, ask questions. And most of all, or most importantly, you can be mentored as a leader. You can be mentored. I don't think there is any other one that is more important. Leadership is hands-on. You can't be a theoretical leader. It has to be hands-on. So the best way to acquire those skills is to be mentored. Submit yourself for mentorship. Let somebody lead you. And I always say to people that one of the best places to develop your leadership skills is in the church. Is in the church. The first leadership, okay, in secondary school I was assistant class rep. Whenever they wanted to have leaders, I always run away. But when I joined the church in Lagos, I was chosen as assistant house fellowship leader. And I thought that was good for me because it was an opportunity for me to hide under the house fellowship leader. But ultimately what happened was that lady mentored me. Let me give you an example. We were going on visitation to visit somebody at home, and she just told me, say, Brother Toyin, just watch me. Just keep quiet. She said, when we get there, she warned me ahead, when we get there, we are going to pray a very short prayer. No matter how our host insists, because it's the first time and we don't know them personally, we just saw their card. We are not going to eat in their house. Those words. So when we got there, we just visited, said, we are here on behalf of the pastor to visit you, and we prayed for 5 minutes. And I thought, I could do this. It's not so difficult. If I had gone alone by myself that first time, it would look difficult for me. But the way she did it, would look easy that, is it not just to pray? At least I can pray for 5 minutes. At least I can insist that I will not eat pounded yam. I can insist. No matter the temptation. So that's really encouraged me that I could visit people. So after doing like 2 or 3 visitations, one day she just gave me a card that, Brother Toyin, please help us to visit this person. And I was excited about it. I was not afraid again because I've been mentored. So over a few months, I always watch the way she did things. And of course, eventually I was chosen as house fellowship leader. So mentorship is very strong. Even in the circular, you can be mentored and you can mentor other guys. In that shop that you have 3 workers, look at somebody that is really, really eager, that you think this person, you can mentor her. Just call her, let her be close to you, and begin to show her processes of the system of your business. Encourage her. You understand? So leadership is something that can be learned, that can be mentored, that you can improve yourself. And the more, just like any hands-on thing, the more you do, the better you become. So as you are acquiring those leadership skills, it will get better and better. At some time, some things will just come to you instinctively because you have seen it happen over and over again. So the concept of the fact that I was not born a leader should be removed from our mindset. And also sometimes people say, pastor, or even at work, this leadership issue is very stressful. They have seen people that have taken positions as leaders, either political leaders or church leaders or even business leaders, and they are naturally phlegmatic. Some people are naturally phlegmatic. That's just your personality. You don't like stress. You rather support somebody and be committed to that person. So you don't like stress. And you have seen somebody, a friend of yours, or a neighbor, or somebody that you know, took up leadership positions and they were really stressed and is demanding, and you don't feel that, you just want easy life. But this is what I have to say about that. You see, truly, sincerely, let us be sincere with ourselves. If you are going to take up leadership positions, either in school or at work or in church, if you are going to be a true leader as a mother, a true leader as a father, a true leader as a business person, it is demanding. It's demanding. One of the problems we have had in this part of the world is because leadership has been turned upside down. I will still talk about that. But if you want to do leadership the way leadership ought to be done, it is demanding. You have to sacrifice. You have to sacrifice your money, your time, your giftings, and do that sometimes without the expectation of anything in return. if you want to be a really good leader. That's the concept. If you want to be, for instance, we are head of ministry in a church. Most head of ministries are volunteers. We don't pay them. So sometimes something will happen. Even before you need to demand money from the church, you have to use your money, and it's demanding. It's demanding. You have to be able to sacrifice your time to give to people, to encourage people, to motivate people. You need to improve yourself so that people can be motivated and inspired. That is true. That is true. But even from research, it's been found that there is a saying that everything rises and falls on leadership. And the extent of your potential is usually, or the extent of the manifestation of your potential is usually directly proportional to your leadership skills. Let me give you an example. If you're a business person and you're a good businessman, some people are just, let me say somebody that is naturally gifted as, they can sell. Some people can just sell. Let me give you, Pastor Toyin can sell. She is very good at selling things. I'm not so good at doing that. So if you can sell very well, this is a very good asset as a business person. But so, this business has the potential of, let's say, $1 million or $10 million a year because you can sell very well. If your leadership skill is at like 3/10, that means that business does not have the potential, will not manifest fully to that $10 million potential. It may get to $3 million, mainly because you don't have good leadership skills. But if your leadership skills is like 8, and the potential of that business is like 5 million, it's likely that you'll be making maybe 4 or 6 million in a year, just because of your leadership potential. And it's something that has been studied over the years. It's not a theoretical thing. It's something that's been studied over the years. So if you're a father, for instance, and you have a wife and 2 children, and the potential in that family is peace and joy, but you lack leadership qualities, it's likely that the fullness of that joy and peace will not be manifest because of your lack of leadership skills. And ditto for the mother, because the mother is a leader. The mother is a leader by her own right in the home. So it's been found that and they give an example of one of these eateries, American eateries, very popular. I don't want to mention the name. The person that founded it is not the person that owns it now. He was doing quite well, but he sold it to these 2 guys that were trained leaders, been leaders in other realms, and they pushed it to a new level. And that's why you find out the fact that many times when an organization, when a system, a football team is not doing well, they will call for the leader. So even though it's so difficult, it can be difficult at times to be a genuine and good leader, because people can frustrate you sometimes. Because now you are trying to influence them, not force them. So once you are trying to influence people, people laugh, they say, I wouldn't follow you. So what do you do? So it may be difficult, it may be challenging, but ultimately it's been found that people that have leadership skills just increase their chances of succeeding in life exponentially. It's an exponential factor, not just an arithmetic factor. So if you have good leadership skills, you know about leadership, you have read about it, you have gone to seminars, you have been mentored in leadership, your chances of succeeding in any area as a husband, as a wife, as a brother that has 3 younger people, it increases exponentially in any ramification. So for me, what I ask is that, what is weigh the cost? Weigh the cost. Would you rather succeed and succeed very well, or you rather relax and run away from the stress and not fulfill your full potential? And I always tell people the good example is Nigeria. Nigeria has potentials probably more than any nation you can see. The human capital that is in Nigeria. I was telling Pastor Toyin yesterday, I said, it seems that Nigerians, they were talking about somebody, a data scientist yesterday abroad. I said, it seems this is our brain. We are so intelligent people, very smart guys. Smart guys. Some of the best doctors in the world are Nigerians. Some of the best nurses, best pharmacists. We saw one pharmacist that did data science. Potential, human capital. Oh, natural resources. Potential. But unfortunately, potential does not always translate into accomplishments. Unfortunately, it's very unfortunate. And many times, one of the missing factors It's leadership. So even though Nigerians are gifted, we have natural resources, petroleum, gas, bitumen, several things that we have. Most of the time, the missing link in Nigeria is leadership. It seems somebody said God did not bless us with good leaders. Are you with me, church? It seems that God did not bless Nigeria with good leaders. But I told that person, I said, oh, but don't look at the politicians alone. Look at ourselves. Look at an individual Nigerian. An average Nigerian is not concerned about leadership. An average Nigerian doesn't want to take leadership positions in the office. They say, oh, okay, you will be in charge of this, our contribution to Nigerians. You will be forced. We don't want to. And the system does not encourage it anyway. But abroad, there are some levels you won't get to in your life if you have not taken volunteer leadership positions before. So the system encourages it. So it seems that the missing factor in Nigeria is that leadership. We can't fulfill the potential, or we are not fulfilling the potential because we lack leadership skills. The politicians, the leaders, the even business leaders in Nigeria, an average, if you take a poll, out of 10, most, maybe 2 or 3 will be interested in leadership. And one of the reasons is this. For you to be a good and successful leader, you must take the factor of selfishness away from your life. You must. But an average, pardon me to say that, an average Nigerian is quite self-centered. Probably because of the difficult times we have gone through. So, the fact that leadership may be demanding, may be difficult, but if you use, it was in 1 Timothy that Paul was writing and says that the people that have used the office of a deacon very well, they have a good estate for themselves. There is a reward for it. There is a reward for it. There is a reward. So, you see that many people, so it's not only Nigeria as a nation, many families are not fulfilling their potential because the husband doesn't have any leader. He wants to use that authority. Sometimes you need to use the authority, but you need to have influence on your wife and your children. Sometimes the wife wants to use her authority as the mother over the children, not the influence. So you find out that a lot of potentials are not being fulfilled because we do not have leadership skills. We are not even interested in leadership. Many people are not interested in leadership. So, if you have seen people that have taken leadership responsibilities and it seems to be a little bit difficult, empathize with them, but be ready to learn. Start learning yourself. Go and read books about leadership and follow this series that we are going to be talking about leadership. And submit yourself for mentorship in leadership. I personally, I would say that I've been a leader in church for some time now, and I've also taken leadership positions in my secular work. And I think my conclusion is this. It's difficult. I have to make a lot of sacrifices, but I'm not even thinking about the money I have or the money I don't have or where I am. I think my summary is that when I look back then and now, I think I have become a better person as a whole. I still working on myself in some regard, but I feel that some of the qualities, good things that I have in my life was because I took up those leadership positions, both in the secular and in the church. So don't think, I think we should have that passion to succeed. We should. What sacrifice are you ready to make to succeed in life as a person, as a husband, as a wife, to make that marriage work? And all those things your leadership skills will come to play in those things. So if you are very passionate to succeed as an entrepreneur, as a wife, as a husband, you need to develop those leadership skills. And lastly, some people have said that I've seen leaders, the way leaders carry themselves, I'm not impressed. Well, if you are not impressed, then you should be a leader in your sphere, have a sphere of influence, and show people how to be leaders. Show people, be an example. Let me read this. Matthew 20:25. What Jesus told his disciples. Because his disciples were arguing amongst themselves, who is going to be the greatest? I want to sit at your right hand. I want to sit at your left hand. I want to be the greatest. I want to shine. I want to be recognized. I want to have 1 million followers on Facebook. That was what they were saying. And Matthew 20:25, Jesus says, sorry, I don't have it there. Can you help me to project it? Okay, it's there. It said, but Jesus called them to himself and said, you know that the rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, and those who are great exercise authority over them. Yet it shall not be so among you. But whoever desires to become great among you, let him be your servant. So that was Jesus. This is called the concept of servant leadership. And it was gotten from the Bible. Jesus was the example. Imagine the person that created the whole of the heavens and the earth. Bible says he stripped himself of the glory in heaven and came on earth to become ordinary man. And when he was going to be born, he didn't even come as a prince. He came to be born in a manger. And what humility. And with all the glory and all the power and all the riches that he had, he was humble. He was a servant. You know, when he was going to die, he told them, he said, if really I wanted to really handle all these Roman soldiers, well, I would just call, is it 12 legions of angels? I would just say, come and clear all these guys. They were like butterflies or ants in front of him. But in spite of that, he came to serve you and I. He served. That was the art of service. To serve with his life. To serve with his gifts. To serve with his... He was even giving people money. He will pray for them and give them money at the same time. Heal them and give them money. So that is the pattern, and that is the pattern many developed climes that they have, that the leader is a servant. We should honor our leaders, whether in the secular or in the church. Honor, respect, and obey them. But if ever you have a leadership position as a father, look at it that as a father, I'm here to serve this family. That is my primary assignment. So, in the things of the Spirit, the people that excel most are people that have a servant's mindset. So even though you are the head of that ministry, you are the father in the home, you are an entrepreneur, you have that servant's mindset. Every great leader that you have seen, Nelson Mandela was like that. We mentioned Martin Luther King was like that. They were like that. People that have that mindset that I am here to be a blessing to people. I'm here to serve people. That was the pattern. So if you have seen people that did not follow that pattern, unfortunately, like I said, it seems that Nigerian pattern is quite different. But that is not the right pattern. The right pattern is the biblical pattern. That the leader is there to serve people, even though they are respecting you, they are honoring you. You have that servant's mindset that I want to bless these people. And what I've discovered over the years as a leader is that once people following you are getting better, on the long run, it will rub off on you. So if you're a father, your wife is getting better, she's improving, her finances is improving, her person is improving, your children are improving, on the long run, it will rub off on you. If you are head of ministry, the people in your ministry are getting better, their finances, their spiritual life is getting better, it will rub off on you on the long run. So the pathway to be a great leader is to first of all have that mindset that I am a servant, to serve the people of God, to serve my generation. And you see that leadership, the concept of leadership, if you just have a change of mindset, that positional leaders are not just the only leaders. Even though some people are born leaders, it can be acquired. I can learn to be a better leader. And the fact that I can change the narrative in the concept of leadership in my own little sphere by being a great leader, having a mindset that I am here to serve the people. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord. Go ahead and give it to the Lord. I was thinking that we will have time for questions, but maybe next week. I want you to follow this series on leadership, and Jesus will do you good. God bless you. Have a great